Have you ever wanted to create super small, accessible, I'm talking 1 kilobyte small, tooltips? Well, this is a CSS Only Tooltip library and it allows us to create tooltips, and I'll be investigating it inside of this video. So let's first create a new directory called micro, and then we'll make an index.html like so. And at the same time, I'm going to run npm install http server-g. This will allow us to open up a HTTP server inside of this folder. After that, we can open this up inside of Visual Studio Code and run HTTP server on this directory. So the first thing we need to do is head over to index.html and create a new HTML document. I'm using Emmet. If you haven't checked out my Emmet video, I definitely suggest you do that on my channel. Then we can hit tab, and this starts us out with a new HTML document with all the boilerplate. The title, I'm simply going to say Microtip. So inside of the head, I'll make a new link with the relation of a style sheet and the reference at https://microtip/microtip.css. That allows us to use the Microtip library inside of our project. The next thing to do is to create a button. We then need to specify an ARIA label, and this will be my first tooltip, with the role of tooltip. And once we save our file, we don't even have any text in the button, and we hover over the button, you can see my first tooltip. It's simply as easy as that. So if we add some text, such as tooltip 1, we have the same result, and I need to zoom out a little bit because I'm 500% in there, but as you can see, we do still have my first tooltip. So I bet you're wondering at this point, how do we change the position of our tooltip? Well, we can do that with something known as the microtip position. So if we were to add a data attribute of microtip-position, and we can first make this equal to up. Notice how at this moment in time, we don't have any change. We can change this to be top. And to make this a little bit easier to see, because we do actually have a tooltip on top of that button, let's add some styling. So inside of the head, let's add a style object. And we can start off by giving this a container class. So let's make a container class. We'll use that to display flex. And we'll justify the content in the center. So if we then put our button inside of a container like so, we're now in the center, but we're not in the center of the screen. That's because we need to have align items equal to center. And the height at 100 view height. So here we are in the middle of the screen. You can now see that we have my first tooltip on top of our button. This is awesome. The way that we then change this to other different sides of the button is by using different conditionals, and these things can be like top left. As you see, we now have a tooltip on the top left. We can do the same for top right. We have other positions such as bottom, that goes underneath our tooltip. We add bottom right to that. You can see that we then have at the bottom right, as you may expect. We also have a bottom left. We also have a standard just left on its own, and then we have a left tooltip and a right tooltip. But the next thing I hear you saying, okay, we have this button, we've got this tooltip, and we can change the position. What if I have a massive piece of text and I want to make my tooltip bigger? Well, you certainly can do that, and that's with the microtip size attribute. So let's also now add a data microtip size. Let's start off with small. As you can see, small looks like that. We then have medium, Medium is certainly a little bit larger. We also have large. Large is significantly larger. And as you could imagine, if you had a lot of text here, you would then be able to display this on screen. And then we also have fit. So fit simply takes the width of the tooltip to be the same as the width on the element. It only works when you use top or bottom as well, so do keep that in mind when using this attribute. We can also change the way our tooltip looks, so it's based on CSS variables. So for example, if we were to make a root, we could add the Microtip font size of 20 pixels. And if we save this and refresh our page, you'll notice that our tooltip size is significantly bigger. If we added 200 pixels, we'd certainly be able to see that that does change. We have different things, like the transition duration. We could put that to be 1 second. Now you see that when the tooltip doesn't appear to actually appearing, that does take 1 second. It also takes 1 second to leave, so any sort of animation will then be reflected. We could do the same for the Microtip transition delay. We could make that 1 second. As you can see, the tooltip doesn't appear until 1 second has passed. We could also change the way that the easing works using the transition easing. So if we used ease out, you'd see that the way our animation actually appears does change. We could change things like the font weight. So instead, if we wanted this to be bold, we could and we would have bold text. And finally, we also have a Microtip text transform. And we could do anything that you may expect here, such as uppercase. So our tooltip would then be entirely in uppercase. You want limited to setting the configuration variables to the document itself. We could create a particular class, such as a tooltip or button tooltip class. And if we simply just had uppercase here and nothing else, and we removed the rest of the configuration objects, and we gave our button the class of button tooltip, and we refreshed our page, you'd see that our tooltip is entirely uppercase. So it's up to you. You can do it on a root basis or a specific case-by-case basis, and you should find that your tooltips are quite customizable. Let me know what you think of this library. What other library do you want me to cover? Let me know inside of the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated, and of course check out paulhalliday.io for more premium courses and free content. Until next time, I'll see you soon in my next video.